Welcome to the Mathematics Empowerment through Standards-Based Grading app demonstration. For the purposes of this demonstration, we are integrated with the Schoology learning management software. I'm going to be logging in as a fake teacher, but this is one way you can integrate your application through an LMS. Our app shows up as a plugin in the app, in the Schoology app. We're going to launch the software, which is always going to come into a pop-up. It uses your credentials from Schoology to then log you into our system. This teacher has 3 6th grade classes. When you enter our application, there's only 2 different pages. There's a classes page, which we're on right now, and there's a standards page, which I'm going to click on next. The app is specifically designed to be intuitive, so teachers can use it without too much training. This video is a short demonstration of all the different things that you can do in the application. This demo school is set up in Pennsylvania, so the standards shown are from Pennsylvania. Teachers have access to all of the standards from grade 6 to Algebra 1. And here in this top part of the page, you can select a course level and filter, and then the only standards you'll see will be for that grade level. But the other thing we're going to do from this page is add standards to our class. So we're going to build a class using the standards that we plan to teach for the year. I'm going to click on this Add Standards button, and it's going to show all of the standards grades 6 through Algebra 1. But again, I have a filter. I want to only look at grade 6, and I have this checkbox for Select All Shown. That's just going to select all of the 6th grade standards, and then I can add it to my class. But say I don't end up thinking I'm going to get to these D standards, so I can remove them from the list when I add. I can always add them back in if I'd like. The other thing you can do is reorder the standard. So if I were to teach number sense before I teach proportional reasoning, I'm going to select all these number sense standards. And then by grabbing these 6 dots, I can move the standards, those number sense standards up to the top, and then this is reordered for everyone. I can also select the Copy to Classes button, which allows me to copy all of the standards that I've put into my first class into my other 2 classes. So I only have to do this organization once, and I can copy everything over, and then it's copied for all 3 classes. So you have the ability to set up your standards individually for your classes if you teach them differently, and otherwise you can copy so that they're all the same. This is really all that we can do in the standards menu, and we've added standards to our classes, so let's go click on our classes. And click on this first class section 1A. It says we have 20 students. I have 32 standards assigned, and then the standards are all listed in the order in which I put them on from the standards menu. You'll see that there's this dark gray bar. This is going to show a percentage of students who are not yet proficient, high performance, and then a bar for students who have not yet been assessed, which is this gray color. Let's click on this first number sense standard. We're going to start with a proficiency guide. This is something that both teachers and students have access to, and it's specific to each standard and lays out the different skills that we expect students to be able to demonstrate to show proficiency on a standard. We're also going to have something called a proficiency map, a standard proficiency map, which is going to help students track their progress, their learning trajectory over the course of several related standards. That will be added to this part of the page. To the right, we have a donut chart, which is it's showing the percentage of kids who are rated proficient, high performance, and not yet proficient. Right now, no one's been rated, so everyone is showing up as not assessed. That's going to be followed by our list of student resources. Student resources can be made visible, or so they're at present, all of the student resources are visible, but we can make them that visibility go away for students by unchecking any of these boxes and then selecting the Update Resource Visibility button. So this is useful if a teacher wants to say there's a resource that they don't want to share with their students. This is how they would do that. So there's a set of student resources that are bucketed into resources for students who are not yet proficient, who are looking to get proficient. And then we also have resources for students who are proficient, who would be looking to get to high performance. And then within that bucket, we have them divided into digital resources, print resources, and video resources. When we get down to teacher resources, these are going to be reassessment materials. These are only going to be available for teachers. And for every set of assessment questions, we also have answer keys. And we can click on any of these to do some exploration there. Just a short description of what is on the resource, that it's a print resource. It should take 10 to 20 minutes. So all of this information exists for all of the resources. And if we were to open the resource, it's going to open in a pop-up, and it has both the questions and an answer key. There are back buttons at the top of each page to take us back to where we were. And the last section for each standard is going to be a rating, the ability to rate students here, not yet proficient, proficient, and high performance. In the app, you do have the ability to add a fourth ability level. Some places use something like developing proficiency, close to proficient, proficient, and high performance. But we can take either 3 or 4 proficiency levels, and you can also change the language. Say you say high proficiency instead of high performance. All of that is supported through the app. So I can provide individual ratings to my students once I have gathered evidence of their performance. I also have the ability to kind of batch rate everyone. So say most people were proficient, I can rate everyone proficient and then change the couple of students who maybe had a different proficiency level. After I do these changes, I have to hit the save button at the bottom. You'll see it says unsaved in this far right column once I save it. It now tells me when this update occurred at the top of the page. I now have that donut chart filled in. I also have the ability, once someone is rated, I can rate them a second time. Say Summer 001 student took a reassessment. They were proficient the second time. This outcome level column actually captures that they have had a change in their performance. I also have the ability to leave notes for students about, we'll take these 2 students who have issues or who are not yet proficient. If I hit add note, I can say, I know you get this with a little extra practice. And I can add notes to those 2 students. So both the notes and this change in proficiency, I have to save for these things to be made permanent. So you can see it still says unsave. I go down to the bottom and I hit save. Now you can see there's a note listed for both these kids, which I can X out if I want to remove. And then for this top student, you can see it saved this not yet proficient rating has gone to proficient. Okay, so let's take a look at this from the student point of view. I'm going to log out of my Schoology instance and log back in as that student, Summer 001. I'm going to launch that app again, and then this is our app. So because this student received an improvement in their grade, They get a little pop-up that gives them a congratulations. Thanks. They're not going to get it again when they log in. I've only rated this student once or on one standard. They can see that they're proficient on that standard, and that up arrow indicates that this is a reassessment that has improved from a previous assessment. I can place the order of the standards in 3 different ways. I have the default order, which is the order the teacher has them in. I can also reorder by what I need, which is going to reorder with the standards where a student is not yet proficient at the top, and then where they're proficient next, and high performance last, followed by all of the not assessed. And then last way to reorder is by last assessed, and that's going to put the standards in order by which they were assessed in reverse order. One thing to note, we have created short titles for each standard. Students in Pennsylvania may be aware of the standard code 6A-N.1.1.1 to make that more meaningful, and especially if they're using the software to track their performance. We also included this brief description of the standard to help in them taking ownership of learning the standards. If I click on the standard, if you remember, there were 2 different options. So for a student who is proficient, here are the things that they could work on to get to high proficiency. Even though the student is rated proficient, they still have access to the other materials if they wanted to go back and practice some of the other things that were for helping the student get from not proficient to proficient. For the rest of these standards, the student has not been assessed, and so the student will just be able to see all of the available standards, or all of the available resources. And remember, we also have access to those proficiency guides that students can click on and then see what is expected of student performance to get to both proficiency and high performance. So that's really it for the student view. They can scroll down and see all the standards, or they can go back to the top and then click on a standard and they'll jump down to where that standard is. I'm going to show one more thing. It's going to involve me logging back in as a teacher. Some teachers or districts are going to decide that they do not want to use they don't want to use the software to give students proficiency ratings, and that is not a problem. In our application, at the very top of the page, there's a gear symbol, which is a settings menu. The first option in the settings menu is that they can turn off the ability to rate students. You have to click a button here that says that you understand that by doing this, you will delete any ratings you've given to students so far. And then I've turned off the assessment mode. You can easily turn it back on by clicking on that blue button. It's also worth mentioning if a teacher wants to just delete everything that's in the system. So that would be all the order of the standards in their classes. And if they have any ratings, they can use this bottom area where it says delete stored data to do so. Let's go back and look at what the classes look like. I no longer have those rating bars. When I click on a standard, I've lost that donut chart because, again, I don't have student ratings. And if I scroll down to the bottom, I no longer have that place where I can give students ratings on standards or leave them notes. But I do have access to all the materials, and I can still change the visibility of materials for my students. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to log out and show you what this looks like from the student point of view. And so from the student point of view, once they log in, they're just not going to have any ratings in this top chart. This is just a list of all the standards. They're not going to be able to reorder them because there's no need since there are no ratings. But if I click on any standard, I'm going to then get all of the different resources organized for those who are for students who are not yet proficient, and then resources for those who are proficient, And then again, I can go on to the next standard and I have all of the available resources that are in the system. So that is conclusion of the demonstration of the app. We've seen the teacher view with assessments, what the student view looks like with those assessments, and then the teacher view and student view in assessment-free mode. Thank you so much for your time.